Good morning, welcome to the allotment, and this week we're going to start the episode by discussing allotment jobs to do in March. In the wet months like the end of winter, early spring, we should be looking to remove the weeds by the roots. The soil is more workable in the wet conditions. We can get deep down into the soil, get all those persistent weeds out by the root, avoiding further trouble when the full growing season and all the plants will start taking off. It's just a lot easier to dig as well. We should be mulching around fruit trees and berry bushes, and if we haven't done it already, like discussed in the February to-do list, which I can link at the end of this, we need the pruning back, cutting back, especially the raspberry bushes, ready for the growing season. Jobs which we can do as we start thinking about entering full spring is we can clear pathways and tidy up and finish off any of our DIY jobs. There's a few jobs I'm guilty of not finishing in February, so those will be the first to tick off the list this month. It's always a running project list. We can start thinking about some of the crops we can plant out at this time of year, and this is all dependent on the frost. So this morning I've woken up, got down the allotment, and we've had quite a frost. Something we still need to watch out for. It's as much as everything's starting to kick into gear, we can see buds on the trees and the plants, we do have the risk of frost. Some of the things we can grow in March: we can sow our parsnips, we can sow carrots, early peas, broadbeans if you haven't done so in the winter, or if you've lost them due to harsh frosts and cold weather. We can have another go by planting up our broadbeans, which could be done all the way through February, March time. You can either pop them on in a greenhouse or on a windowsill, or you can try and risk it depending on what your weather and climate's like outside. I'd advise doing it indoors. Sprouts, leeks, spring onions, lettuce, cauliflower, spinach, these are all things we can start growing in the later weeks. I'd advise later weeks of March. Summer flowering bulbs can be put out. This other project which we've already started last month is we got our first early potatoes. They are chitting on the windowsill. You'll have seen that in the past week's episode. I aim to put them out end of March. They're on the windowsill. They've got some long sprouts coming off of them. When they get to the point where they're going to become too spindly, at the moment they're about 1.5 centimetres. You want them ideally around the 2 centimetre mark so that they don't snap off when we're putting them in the ground. At the end of this month we can put our first earlies in and then expect a crop roughly around 10 weeks later. It can be going to the garden centre, picking up those last packs of seeds we need, picking up any tools or replacing any tools which need replacing, and just keeping on with these winter DIY jobs as we get very close. And it's very exciting that the spring months are coming. As you can see, we've got some glorious sunshine today. It's been a frosty cold morning. I got up early to get down here today, and the car was frozen over, which is another reminder of not getting too eager down here putting everything out. But yeah, those are the kind of jobs we need to be getting done in March. I love doing these videos at the beginning of each month because they hold me accountable. Like I said, there's a few jobs I haven't actually finished from last month. I'm going to finish off today pruning the berry bushes. I started last week, but I wasn't feeling well. For those of you who've watched the previous episode, I feel a lot better today. Throat's not hurting and I don't feel so rough. I did actually end up off work for a few days. Maybe I shouldn't have come down here on a Saturday thinking I'd be alright. I already had the warning signs that I was ill. Went in Monday morning and then ended up off work for a few days. Well, other than that, right, let's have a look at what we can do today and have a little chat and a coffee afterwards, and we'll do our weekly progress report. That's something I'm really enjoying each week at the moment. It's just giving you a little weekly progress report on everything that's growing. There's been some really good, I can't wait to share with you the progress in the greenhouse of some of the broadbeans and peas and stuff, because they've come on in a week. The difference is massive. Also, I've managed to get, thanks to my boss at work, who's allowed me to take these yesterday, I managed to get 2 more of the fantastic raised beds, which will go in here and here once these have come through. We are starting to see signs of growth. We've got some of the onions coming through now. But we can add them there, And then I think, other than possibly one over there like we discussed a couple of weeks back, and then putting one in here after this growing season, I think we're pretty much organised. There's a massive difference from when we first took over the plot and sticking these in. Just a bit of uniformity really helps. I've actually moved this off of the rhubarb this morning as well, because I think it's lacking in a bit of sunlight, so I'm wondering if we can get a little bit of the glorious March sunshine on the rhubarb. It might kick it into gear a bit. The beds are looking good. You've got your garlic up the end there. We've got onions. The first lot of onions we planted. This is what I meant by pulling out some of these weeds. Look, we can get them out by the roots. There's already weeds growing up in this bed, which we need to keep on top of. Now's the time to keep on top of it, because if we allow all these to grow through, we're just going to create a rod for our own back. So in the summer months, when everything's coming on leaps and bounds, we're going to be battling bigger, more established weeds. But I think first jobs we're going to do is get on and clear the rest of those berry bushes. Some mean brambles there that even with gloves on they're still having a good go. So I've just remembered some really important advice someone gave me on a previous episode about not composting the brambles, and we've got some serious big brambles. I just showed you some of them and they've kind of taken over the plants. I mean, you've got this lovely berry bush here, and in the center of it you can see, I don't know if you can see that, yeah you can see, we've got brambles that have grown all the way through the center. So we're going to cut all these out, and I'm going to take these to the tip. Can't put these in the compost bin. I was already advised that these take years to break down. I've cut this one back because it was growing all the way over the top. It's just been allowed to get out of control for years, so that's the priority when sorting out the berry bushes. I've left plenty of growth. You can see the buds. Here comes the train just as I'm talking. Plenty of life on the remaining stalks, but I'm hoping cutting it back is going to encourage some growth from the bottom as well, and then we can get this a bit more uniform. But as you can see, and you probably have seen past videos, this is out of control. It's got weeds growing through it. More trains. got brambles, it's got bindweed, it's got all sorts growing through it, so just going to really cut it back, and then we'll record its progress and the improvement over the next year. That's a serious haircut. Seems a bit drastic, but it should encourage some growth. The ones along the end, on the edge here, I've removed all the brambles. Right, time for a well-earned coffee. If I can open it. Oh Jesus. I don't think I'm having a coffee. I put it on squiff when I was in a rush to get the car defrosted and get out. Oh. Well, that was a workout in itself. I didn't think that was going to open up. It was so much better this week than I did last week. I barely got anything done last week looking back on it. I just wasn't feeling it, wasn't feeling well at all. So that's some great progress on the berry bushes. Very happy with that. It looks quite drastic, like I said, but it will help encourage new growth, and I don't think it's been dealt with for years. You could see how overgrown. Some of it was reaching over to the other side of the line, and the brambles were growing up through the bushes. So I wore gloves and I still got stung by the stinging nettles, but it is what it is. Really warm and sunny, it's glorious, and these are the danger days where you feel like spring I can get on and plant everything out. I remember this morning when I got up, it was frozen and the nights are freezing cold, so the deceptiveness of almost the summer feel, the summer vibe from the sunshine, we need to take that into consideration and not get carried away. I need to take that into consideration and not get carried away. I've just finished my coffee. I'll show you how the sweet peas and the broad beans are doing. We'll give everything a water, and then I've got to drag that massive bag up to the car to take to the tip to get rid of the brambles. It's definitely not going to compost, and that's a ton bag, and it's pretty much full of what we've cut off today. So the shallots haven't got any green shoots on them yet, but I'm confident that they'll do all right. They, as long as they're well watered in these pots, I'm sure they've set root. We'll keep an eye on them over the next few weeks. The remarkable growth this week has been on the peas and the broad beans. So there's the peas. We put quite a few in each set because I'm going to harvest pea shoots from these ones, and then we're going to grow on some pea plants to harvest actual garden peas later on in the season. But they're happy enough in the greenhouse. Some lovely growth on them. And the broad beans from last week, the difference is massive. So we've only got, well, one's coming up through there, but I think there might be one dud. But the rest of them are coming up, throwing out leaves. Really happy with the longer days and the sunshine. I'm keeping them well watered. The mystery bulbs are still happy. They're going to go out into a bigger pot in the next few weeks. That's what's growing in the greenhouse. Bit of an extra update for this week. I took Shire bowling after going to the allotment, and I nipped into B&M stores. I'd look in the garden section and I found some really nice quality looking herbs. 4 for a tenner, which is an absolute bargain. So I found some rosemary, which is quite a well established bush. These are all going to go in the garden where we pulled out the raised beds. Oregano, again a really nice looking quality bush there. Some sage and some thyme, which smells incredible when it just gets ruffled in the tub. So we've got some thyme, sage, rosemary and oregano. And whilst I was looking around at these, I accidentally bought Morello cherry tree. Let's have a little closer look at this. Some really nice buds coming up on it already. I quite like this where it's been cut at the top and it's got a really nice straight stem. So we're going to go in the garden, we're going to get them in. I think this video is going to run quite long today. The blueberry bushes have started to bud in the home garden. 2 raspberry bushes. I've kind of neglected this lavender, but it does come up every year, so we've left that in. Then we've got the 4 herb bushes, sage, thyme, rosemary, oregano, and then a lovely small cherry tree, which I'm hoping, I've got good high expectations for. We'll record the progress during the year. Show you how many worms are in this compost bin. Genuinely amazed that I will wash my hands after this, but they're all up at the surface working their way through the potatoes. I have got a wormery on the go, but I mean, this is doing a job on its own. I put a lot of vegetation and stuff in here. That's a lot of worms. The low maintenance bit of garden I've got put aside for herbs and berry bushes, and then the main bulk of the veg growing is going to be done in the allotment. I've got some seeds to plant up during the week, or maybe next weekend depending on time. The berry bushes look a lot more, if you can see through the sunshine, the berry bushes looking great, more organised. That's it I think for this week down here. I think we've made a lot of progress. Thank you for joining us this week. What's going on the channel? We've got pierogies and shelf stable goulash testing on Tuesday. That'll be at 5 PM GMT. And then we have a Norwegian breakfast menu. That'll be on Friday night's MRE review. And I'll see you back down here next weekend. I promise you I will tackle the greenhouse full of grapevines. I keep saying it. I think I said it in January, I said it in February. So guys, hold me to account. That needs to be done next week as one of our March jobs, because I keep putting it off because I keep finding other things to do. Isn't that always the way? So take care of yourselves, jump in the comments, let me know what other jobs I've missed for March, or what you're up to down your allotment. And yeah, hopefully see you next week. Thanks for watching, bye bye.